Hi, in this video, I will be showing you how to assemble the circular impossible table. Here's what you will need. The 3D printed parts, so 2 of the bases, which are circular, and 2 of the legs. You will also need super glue, scissors, a workspace, which keeps your table clean, which can just be newspaper or cardboard, such as a cereal box, and finally string. First, you have to glue the legs onto the bases. To do that, there are 2 slots, little grooves, which the bottom of the legs fit into, like this. So you have to get the super glue and follow the instructions included on the package. Apply a small amount into the groove, just enough to fill it up so that the glue is level with the rest of the base. Then insert the legs and hold it for 30 seconds. Once about 30 seconds are up, you can let go and the glue should be set. You can also follow the directions on the package with the amount of time you should wait before you start using the parts. Next, you have to glue the other side. And this, you have to be a little bit more careful because before you glue it, you have to loop it through the other one so that it works. Because otherwise, if you don't, the table will be like this and you won't be able to turn it, where you would be able to if you put it through. So first you have to put it through, and then you do the same. Now that the 30 seconds is up for both, they are set. Now that the glue has set and dried, we are ready to put on the 2 strings that attach the legs. To do this, cut 2 strings of the same length. And you don't need to measure, you can just put it beside the next string and see that they're the same length. Now that you have 2 strings of the same length, you can begin tying both of the legs together. What I like to do is I like to make a slip knot. So first, you have to tie a loop on one of the ends. Then you have to tie another regular knot to make that loop secure. Just like this. Now that this loop is secure, you can begin tying it with the legs. First, you loop it through the top hole and then through the bottom hole on the same side. Then, you put the end without a loop through the end with the loop, and once it's through the loop, you can adjust the length quite easily. Now that I have the right length, I'm just going to put my finger on the loop where it connects to the end of the string, and I'm going to tie 1 regular knot. Which is quite difficult to do. Now that you've tied that knot, you can go ahead and do the next string. You do the same and you tie a loop at the end of it. Once you have your second string ready, you can do the same with the other hole. This one though, you have to make sure that the string is the same length after you tie it. Otherwise, your table won't be flat and it won't hold any objects because they'll just slide off. So you do the same and you put the end without a loop through the loop. And you make sure this time though that the top is level and that they are the same length. Now that you put your finger on it, you just have to tie the knot. And once you put your finger on it, it's also a good idea to test it again. It's looking okay. Now we have two strings at the same length, roughly. And now, just to clean it up, it's a good idea to cut the loose parts off that aren't being used. Once this is done, it should look like this. Then you can start tying the base to the bottom base. First, you need to get a string that's more than long enough to loop through the top base, go through the bottom base and back. So like this. Then you can cut it and cut 8 strings of the same length. Now that you have all 8 of your strings at the same length, you can start tying the top base and the bottom base together. Make sure that there is a rotation between both bases so that both of the legs aren't like this, because then it doesn't look impossible. So make sure it's like this. Then loop the string through the top base in one of the holes. It doesn't really matter what one it is, but I like doing one to the right of the bottom leg. Then loop the string through the bottom. Now that it's through, you can tie the same sort of loop as we did on the other ones. Then get the bottom string and put it through the loop. Then make sure the top of the table is level, like this, and pull the string tight. Once it's tight, you can just tie it with one regular knot, as we did with the legs. Once it's tied, your table has one of the strings ready. Now you can follow this procedure for the rest, but there is a certain order that makes it easier. So we did the first one. It's good if you do the one across from it, then one of the quarters, then the other quarter, and then your table is functional. After that, it doesn't really matter what order you do, but I find it's easier if you do another eighth, the opposite eighth, another eighth, and the opposite eighth. So you can just follow this procedure again and again until the table is ready, like this. Now that I've put on 4 of the strings, you can see that the impossible table is already starting to work. Now that the impossible table is complete, with all 8 strings, plus the 2 for the center legs, it is ready to test. Now it's time to test it. I've got 5 objects from lightest to heaviest. And I'm going to test them all. First, a pair of scissors. It holds that extremely easily. Next up is a box of tissue that is half full. It also holds that very easily. Next is a bottle of dish soap that's partially full. It holds that one quite easily too. Next is a book that's heavy enough. It holds that one, not quite as easily, but still definitely holds it. Just wobbles a little. And the heaviest is a bottle of soap, but this one is much more full. It holds this too. It can also hold heavier items, but I'll show you those in another video. Stay tuned, and please subscribe to Link's 3D Printing.